The story is set in a not-too-distant future, where humanity has made significant advancements in space exploration and technology. Dr. Jones, the main character, is a brilliant scientist who has dedicated her life to unlocking the mysteries of the universe. The story takes place during a time of great change and uncertainty. Climate change and environmental degradation have taken their toll on Earth, and people are looking to the stars for new hope and new opportunities. Dr. Jones and her team have developed a revolutionary new technology called the quantum leap, which allows them to travel through time and space in an instant. With this technology, they can explore new worlds and discover new forms of life. But as they journey deeper into the universe, they encounter new challenges and obstacles. They witness the devastating effects of climate change on other planets, encounter hostile life forms, and struggle to bridge the gap between different civilizations. Through it all, Dr. Jones remains committed to responsible exploration, cooperation, and diplomacy. She knows that every new discovery comes with its own set of risks and responsibilities, and she is determined to use her knowledge for the betterment of humanity. The story's background is one of exploration, discovery, and responsibility. It shows us that the universe is full of wonders and mysteries, but that every new discovery comes with its own set of risks and responsibilities. It reminds us that we must always strive to explore and discover with responsibility, cooperation, and diplomacy, and that we must use our knowledge for the betterment of all. Chapter 1: The Discovery. Dr. Ava Jones was a brilliant physicist who had dedicated her life to the study of quantum mechanics. She had always been fascinated by the idea of time travel and had spent years studying the theories and principles behind it. Her dream was to create a technology that would allow people to travel through time and space instantaneously, without the need for a spacecraft or a time machine. For years, Dr. Jones worked tirelessly in her lab, conducting experiments and running simulations. She knew that her dream was a lofty one, but she refused to give up. Then, one day, she made a breakthrough. Dr. Jones had found a way to create a quantum leap, a technology that would allow people to travel through time and space instantaneously. The idea was simple in theory, but incredibly complex in practice. It involved manipulating the laws of quantum mechanics to create a sort of a wormhole that would allow a person to travel from one point in space and time to another. Dr. Jones knew that her discovery was groundbreaking, and she was eager to share it with the world. She wrote a paper detailing her findings and submitted it to a prestigious scientific journal. Within weeks, the paper had been published, and Dr. Jones became an overnight sensation in the scientific community. People from all over the world began to contact her, asking for more information about the quantum leap technology. Governments and private organizations offered her millions of dollars in funding to further develop the technology. Dr. Jones was thrilled by the response, but she was also wary. She knew that the quantum leap technology had the potential to change the world, but she also knew that it could be dangerous in the wrong hands. Despite her reservations, Dr. Jones continued to work on the technology, perfecting it and making it safer. She knew that the quantum leap technology was the key to unlocking new frontiers in space and time, and she was determined to see it through to the end. Chapter 2: The Experiment. Dr. Jones was eager to test her new technology, and she knew that the only way to do so was to send a team of astronauts on a quantum leap. She recruited a group of experienced and highly trained astronauts, each of whom had been carefully selected for the mission. The team was made up of 6 individuals, each with their own unique skills and expertise. There was Captain Jameson, the mission leader and a seasoned astronaut with years of experience. There was Dr. Chin, a biologist who would be studying the planet's ecosystem. There was Lieutenant Singh, a physicist who would be studying the planet's geology. There was Lieutenant Kim, a communications specialist who would be responsible for keeping the team in contact with Earth. And there were 2 engineers, Smith and Rodriguez, who would be responsible for maintaining the equipment and making any necessary repairs. The team underwent months of training, both physical and mental, to prepare for the mission. They studied the quantum leap technology and learned how to operate it. They learned survival skills and underwent simulations of various scenarios they might encounter on the mission. Finally, the day of the mission arrived. The team donned their spacesuits and entered the quantum leap chamber. Dr. Jones activated the technology, and the room was filled with a blinding light. The team felt themselves being pulled through time and space, their bodies weightless and their minds racing. When the light faded, the team found themselves on the surface of a distant planet. It was a barren, rocky world, with a harsh, unforgiving environment. The team quickly set up their base camp, and began to explore the planet. Despite the harsh conditions, the team was amazed by the planet's beauty. There were towering mountains, deep canyons, and vast deserts. The sky was a deep shade of blue, and the stars shone brightly in the night sky. The team worked tirelessly, conducting experiments and gathering data. They studied the planet's ecosystem, looking for signs of life. They studied the planet's geology, looking for clues about its origins. They sent back reports to Earth, detailing their findings. As the days turned into weeks, the team began to feel the effects of their isolation. They missed their families and friends, and they longed for the comforts of home. But they knew that they had a job to do, and they remained focused on their mission. Finally, after months on the planet's surface, the team was ready to return to Earth. They entered the quantum leap chamber once again, and Dr. Jones activated the technology. The room was filled with light, and the team felt themselves being pulled through time and space once again. When the light faded, the team found themselves back on Earth. They emerged from the quantum leap chamber, exhausted but exhilarated. They had made history, and they had proven that the quantum leap technology was a success. Chapter 3: The Leap. The team emerged from the quantum leap chamber, their bodies still tingling from the experience. They were greeted by a team of scientists and engineers, who had been eagerly awaiting their return. Dr. Jones was the first to speak. "How did it go?" she asked, her voice filled with anticipation. Captain Jameson stepped forward. "It was incredible," he said. "The planet was unlike anything we've ever seen before. The geological formations, the ecosystem, everything was so different from what we're used to." Dr. Chen chimed in. "We discovered a new form of life," she said. "It was unlike anything we've ever seen before. It was intelligent and sentient, and it welcomed us with open arms." Dr. Jones listened to the team's report with growing excitement. She knew that this was exactly what she had hoped for when she had created the quantum leap technology. Over the next few weeks, the team debriefed with Dr. Jones and the other scientists, sharing their findings and data. They pored over the information, trying to make sense of the new world they had discovered. As they studied the planet, the team began to realize that it was in danger. A nearby star was unstable, and it was on the verge of exploding. If it did, the planet and its inhabitants would be destroyed. The team was conflicted. They had come to the planet to explore, not to interfere with the lives of its inhabitants. But they knew that they couldn't just sit back and watch as the planet was destroyed. Dr. Jones knew that they had to act fast. She called a meeting of the team and the other scientists, and they began to brainstorm ideas. Finally, Dr. Jones had an idea. She realized that they could use the quantum leap technology to travel to the star and stabilize it. It was a risky plan, but it was the only one they had. The team was hesitant at first, but they knew that it was their only chance. They began to prepare for the mission, studying the star and its behavior, and developing a plan of action. Finally, the day of the mission arrived. The team donned their spacesuits and entered the quantum leap chamber once again. Dr. Jones activated the technology, and the team felt themselves being pulled through time and space. When the light faded, the team found themselves in the heart of the star. It was a violent and chaotic place, filled with bursts of energy and radiation. The team worked quickly, using their knowledge of quantum mechanics to stabilize the star. It was a dangerous mission, and there were moments when the team thought they might not make it. But they persevered, working together to complete the mission. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the star stabilized. The team watched in awe as it stopped its violent activity and began to shine brightly once again. The team returned to Earth, hailed as heroes for their bravery and their ingenuity. They had saved an entire planet from certain destruction, and they had done it using technology that they had developed themselves. Dr. Jones knew that the quantum leap technology was the key to unlocking new frontiers in space and time. She continued to work on the technology, making it safer and more efficient. She knew that the quantum leap technology had the potential to change the world, and she was determined to use it for good. Chapter 4: The Discovery. After the successful quantum leap mission, Dr. Jones and her team became celebrities in the scientific community, and the public was fascinated by their discovery. People from all over the world were eager to learn more about the planet they had visited and the life they had discovered. Dr. Jones and her team spent months analyzing the data they had collected on the planet. They discovered that the new lifeforms they had encountered were incredibly intelligent and had a society that was highly advanced. They communicated through a complex system of sounds and gestures, and they had their own unique culture and traditions. As the team delved deeper into their research, they began to realize that the planet and its inhabitants were in many ways more advanced than Earth. They had developed technology that was far beyond anything the humans had ever seen, and they had a deep understanding of the universe and the laws of physics. Dr. Jones was fascinated by the new lifeforms and their culture. She spent hours studying their language and their behavior, trying to understand their way of life. She was amazed by their intelligence and their creativity, and she knew that there was still so much more to learn. Over the next few years, Dr. Jones and her team made several more quantum leaps, visiting other planets and discovering new forms of life. With each new discovery, they pushed the boundaries of human knowledge and understanding. But they also faced new challenges. They encountered hostile life forms, and they witnessed the devastating effects of climate change on other planets. They saw the consequences of unchecked greed and power, and they knew that they had a responsibility to use their knowledge for good. Dr. Jones became an advocate for responsible exploration, urging governments and private companies to take a more cautious approach to space travel. She knew that the universe was vast and full of wonders, but she also knew that every new discovery came with its own set of risks and responsibilities. As she continued to work on the quantum leap technology, Dr. Jones knew that she was paving the way for a new era of exploration and discovery. She was determined to use her knowledge for the betterment of humanity, and to ensure that the lessons she had learned were not forgotten. Chapter 5: The Conflict. As Dr. Jones and her team continued to explore the universe, they encountered many new challenges and obstacles. They witnessed the devastating effects of climate change on other planets, the consequences of unchecked greed and power, and the hostility of some of the life forms they encountered. One day, they came across a planet that was being threatened by a nearby black hole. The planet was home to a highly advanced civilization, and its inhabitants were facing certain doom if they did not find a way to escape. Dr. Jones and her team knew that they had to act fast. They began to study the black hole, trying to find a way to neutralize its effects on the planet. But as they worked, they began to realize that the situation was more complicated than they had initially thought. The planet's rulers, a group of powerful and influential individuals, were resistant to the team's efforts. They saw the quantum leap technology as a threat, and they were unwilling to trust the humans who had come to their planet. Dr. Jones and her team were faced with a difficult decision. They knew that they had the knowledge and the technology to save the planet and its inhabitants, but they also knew that they had to respect the planet's sovereignty and the wishes of its rulers. They spent weeks debating and discussing the best course of action. Finally, they came up with a plan. They would work with the planet's rulers, sharing their knowledge and expertise, and together they would find a way to save the planet. It was a risky plan, and there were moments when it seemed like it might not work. But Dr. Jones and her team persevered, working tirelessly to find a solution. Finally, after weeks of hard work, they had a breakthrough. They discovered a way to neutralize the effects of the black hole and save the planet. They presented their findings to the planet's rulers, and after much debate and discussion, the rulers agreed to work with the humans. Chapter 6: The Decision. Dr. Jones and her team had successfully saved the planet and its inhabitants from the black hole, but the mission had left a lasting impact on them. They had realized the importance of responsible exploration and the need for cooperation and diplomacy with other civilizations. Dr. Jones spent months studying the data they had collected from the mission, analyzing the planet's culture and the reactions of its rulers. She realized that there were many civilizations out there that were resistant to the idea of working with humans, and that they saw the quantum leap technology as a threat. She knew that she had to find a way to bridge the gap between different civilizations and to work together for the betterment of all. She began to reach out to other scientists and explorers, urging them to take a more cautious and responsible approach to space travel. She also began to work on a new project, one that would serve as a symbol of cooperation and diplomacy between different civilizations. She proposed the creation of a new space station, one that would serve as a neutral ground where scientists and explorers from all over the universe could come together to share ideas and knowledge. The idea was met with enthusiasm, and Dr. Jones received funding and support from governments and private organizations around the world. The space station, called the Unity Station, was built in orbit around Earth, and it quickly became a hub for scientific and diplomatic activity. Scientists and explorers from all over the universe came to the Unity Station, sharing their knowledge and expertise. They worked together to solve problems and to make new discoveries, and they formed lasting friendships and alliances. Dr. Jones was proud of what she had accomplished. She knew that the Unity Station was just the beginning, and that there was still so much more to explore and discover. But she also knew that responsible exploration, cooperation, and diplomacy were the keys to unlocking the universe's greatest mysteries. She continued to work on the quantum leap technology, making it safer and more efficient. She knew that it was the key to unlocking new frontiers in space and time, and she was determined to use it for the betterment of humanity. As she looked out at the stars, Dr. Jones knew that the universe was full of wonders and mysteries, but she also knew that every new discovery came with its own set of risks and responsibilities. She was determined to use her knowledge for the betterment of humanity, and to ensure that the lessons she had learned were not forgotten. Chapter 7: The Return. After the successful mission to save the planet from the black hole and the creation of the Unity Station, Dr. Jones and her team returned to Earth, hailed as heroes for their bravery and their ingenuity. Dr. Jones knew that she had accomplished a great deal, but she also knew that there was still much more work to be done. She continued to work on the quantum leap technology, perfecting it and making it safer. She also became an advocate for responsible exploration and cooperation between different civilizations. She traveled the world, giving speeches and lectures, urging governments and private organizations to take a more cautious and responsible approach to space travel. Over time, her message began to resonate with people. Governments and private organizations began to take a more cautious approach to space travel, and they began to work together more closely. The Unity Station became a hub for scientific and diplomatic activity, and it became a symbol of cooperation and diplomacy between different civilizations. People from all over the universe came to the Unity Station, sharing their knowledge and expertise, and working together to solve problems and make new discoveries. Dr. Jones was proud of what she had accomplished. She knew that responsible exploration and cooperation were the keys to unlocking the universe's greatest mysteries, and she was determined to use her knowledge for the betterment of humanity. As she looked out at the stars, Dr. Jones knew that the universe was full of wonders and mysteries, but she also knew that every new discovery came with its own set of risks and responsibilities. She was determined to use her knowledge for the betterment of humanity, and to ensure that the lessons she had learned were not forgotten. She continued to work on the quantum leap technology, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. She knew that the universe was vast and full of wonders, and she was determined to unlock its greatest mysteries. As she looked out at the stars, Dr. Jones knew that there was still so much more to explore and discover. But she also knew that responsible exploration, cooperation, and diplomacy were the keys to unlocking the universe's greatest mysteries. And she was determined to use her knowledge for the betterment of humanity, and to ensure that the lessons she had learned were not forgotten. Throughout the course of the story, we followed the journey of Dr. Jones and her team as they explored the universe using the quantum leap technology. Along the way, they discovered new forms of life, witnessed the devastating effects of climate change, and encountered civilizations that were resistant to working with humans. Through it all, Dr. Jones remained committed to responsible exploration, cooperation, and diplomacy. She knew that the universe was full of wonders and mysteries, but she also knew that every new discovery came with its own set of risks and responsibilities. Dr. Jones' dedication to responsible exploration led her to create the Unity Station, a hub for scientific and diplomatic activity that served as a symbol of cooperation and diplomacy between different civilizations. She continued to work on the quantum leap technology, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. As the story came to a close, Dr. Jones looked out at the stars, knowing that there was still so much more to explore and discover. But she also knew that responsible exploration, cooperation, and diplomacy were the keys to unlocking the universe's greatest mysteries. The story serves as a reminder of the importance of responsible exploration and cooperation between different civilizations. It shows us that the universe is full of wonders and mysteries, but that every new discovery comes with its own set of risks and responsibilities. Dr. Jones' journey is one of bravery, dedication, and perseverance. She was determined to use her knowledge for the betterment of humanity, and to ensure that the lessons she had learned were not forgotten. As we look out at the stars, we can draw inspiration from Dr. Jones' story. We can use her example to guide us as we continue to explore and discover the universe, always striving to do so with responsibility, cooperation, and diplomacy.